Hello. So one of the things I've had a lot of trouble with here, 2018 at the movies, obviously aside from the fact that, half the movies I've seen haven't been very good, is that there haven't been any of those wonderful, small little surprises, It felt like last year, by this time last year, I'd gone and seen so many of these tiny little movies that, I'd never heard of, and even the ones that weren't earth-shattering, because of course that's how I saw, Their Finest, Going in Style and things like that. There were a lot of fun little tidbits there. That's how I saw Table 19, Everybody Loves Somebody, these little gems of movies that nobody knew about, and it was so cool. They broke up the monotony, and they didn't make you feel like you were, just suffering from the malaise of all of these, mediocre, lackluster films. And it feels like this year, at least so far, the little films I have gone and seen have been, nothing much, if anything. So it really, really felt good to see this movie. Oh, thank God for the Brits. Thank God for the Brits and their charming, sweet, tiny little slice of life movies like this one. What a pleasant little film. What a wonderful thing after a long and difficult couple of weeks, and just everything getting stressful as the year winds down, school-wise and all that. What a breath. So odds are you haven't heard of this film, and even if you hadn't, odds are you have heard of it, because the plot is not anything really all that earth-shattering or revolutionary. It's it's your standard middle to old age born again movie. It sounds like it would be right at home with a Sandra Bullock plot or the plot of a sitcom. So Alma, I can never remember her last name's character, the actress who is best known to modern audience as Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter. So Dolores Umbridge is, it's no surprise, a stuffy, upper-class, housewife who is, obsessed with title and appearance and all that. And lo and behold, at the very beginning of the film, she finds her husband of 35 years has been having an affair. So she runs away and goes and lives with her, hippie, free spirit, won't be tied down, no way, no how, older sister Biff. So again, the plot is not, is nothing that's going to make your head explode. It's, you've seen it, you've heard it, the character beats pretty well in advance. So if it's for jaw-dropping Shyamalanian plot twists you're after, this is not the film for you. But why the film succeeds is why any film with a predictable plot succeeds. Really, Black Panther is a predictable plot. Comic book movie, good guy fights bad guy, good guy wins. There you go. But as with any good movie, it's the details that make it work. And the details in this film are very sweet. And the reason they're very sweet is because they're very, very simple. This is not a complicated movie. It's a movie about not just Dolores Umbridge's character, I'm just going to keep calling her that, finding her way back and, learning, all those lessons about life going on and all that, but the other characters around her learning it for their various situations, too. Really, as I'm thinking about this, I'm trying to find stuff to talk about, but there's not a whole lot to, go into this and that, because it's all just so simple and beautiful, Of course, the cornerstone of any great movie, and any great British movie, of course, is the acting, and they have a marvelous cast of actors here, just charming and sweet and warm, the kind of characters and actors that you want to spend an extended amount of time with, headed up, of course, by Alma Umbridge, and of course another Harry Potter alumni, Timothy Spall, who played Wormtail in the films. I adore Timothy Spall. Timothy Spall is just one of the dearest men ever. Not just as an actor, he's a fantastic actor, first off, but he's just a fun man. If you haven't seen it, there's a show he did on BBC, and I don't know if you can find it on Netflix or anything like that. I own it on DVD, because of course I do. And it was this little reality show where he and his wife, like in real life, they live on a boat and they sail around, the English Channel there. And that's all it is. It's not like, a big, drama screaming and yelling. It's just an old married couple out on the boat. And it's such a charming little show. And from that, you just fall in love with him. And I've loved him in everything he's been in ever since after that. And boy, is he a great character in this movie. Boy, is he just what you need. When you need that character in one of these romantic comedies or whatever you want to call them, that character, the well-meaning, unassuming guy who's going to help the poor, put upon housewife who's never lived for herself and all that, find her footing and all that, hence the title. He's the perfect one to do it, because he does all of this. Again, this is shtick that would be played by someone like Hugh Grant or something in a modern movie. Or, I keep going back to the Sandra Bullock thing. This was the Harry Connick Jr. role in Hope Floats all those years back. But here it's not a forceful thing. He's not, forcing himself on her. He's just a man, and their relationship feels so real, so natural. It begins, in that kind of, I don't really like you or know you or anything, but I'll be polite, and then goes to you can see the friendship develop, and then it blossoms into something more. And I really like that. A lot of movies, and obviously they're crunched for time. You got a lot you got to try to do in a short amount of time. But a lot of movies kind of skip that point where the characters become friends and actually know each other. And, help each other through things. And it's not just, in the bed, boink, and now we're in love. It's a much slower burn. And it's their relationship was all the more rewarding watching it because it felt earned and it felt real and it felt like something you'd watched grow and nurtured grow along with the other characters. So that's a really great performance by both of them. The other actor who kind of carries the lion's share is the actor who plays Biff, Dolores Umbridge's sister, and I cannot remember her name. And I've seen enough British shows. I've probably seen her in about 100 things. I bet when I go home and IMDb her, I'll go, oh, it was, whoever. But at this point, I know I've seen her in something, but I can't picture her. But anyway, the person playing, so the woman playing, the older sister is also very good, and it's a good sisterly relationship. I will say I liked the sisterly relationship. I didn't feel it was as well done or as limited in cliches as the other relationship, because it did kind of feel like it was it still was a little layered in the cliches, just a little. I always have a problem in movies like this, where, and it's usually the woman, the woman whose husband cheats on her or whatever, and she goes and, goes back home or whatever. I always have a problem in those movies where everybody around the newly divorced woman is all just going, oh, just get over it. Oh, just get over it. Oh, he's a pig. Just get over it. And none of them ever really take into account that, yeah, obviously he's in the wrong. But they never take into account that that's 35 years of this woman's life you're telling her just to disregard. Just to chuck away like it didn't happen or didn't matter. I always kind of hate that. Like, even if it ends badly, and, and obviously, of course, at the beginning of the film, of course, Dolores Umbridge is acting like a bitch, of course, so she's a little less sympathetic. But you always kind of want them, and they did a little bit in this movie. There was this nice scene. It was a very little one. I wish they could have done a little bit more, when he serves her with divorce papers, and, her sister's like, well, you must have known this was coming. And she says, he betrayed me and all this, but, I spent most of my life loving him. It's not easy just to go, and turn that off and not feel hurt and betrayed, by divorce papers, even if I know they were coming. And I wish they would have done a little bit more of that, to kind of show, maybe give this person just a little bit more slack as their life has fallen apart. And give some credence to the fact that just because it's not your life, that doesn't make it less valuable when it falls apart, That's just me. That being said, and that's a little bit of a rant on movies and not this movie specifically, because even with that cliche kind of intact, the relationship of the two sisters is still very sweet. It's very well done. And again, just like the Timothy Spall relationship, we get to watch them kind of reaffirm and grow back together and become a family again in a way that feels natural and well-paced and real. It didn't happen overnight. They don't just, turn around and one day everything's fine. It takes a little on both of their parts. And I like that. I like that they take that time and go, it takes time. It's not an easy fix. I guess if I had any issue with the movie, and I do have one issue with the movie, I feel it goes on for about 15 to maybe 20 minutes too long. And it's not that it was a dull movie or something you didn't want to watch. It was that when it gets to that final 15, 20 minutes, that's when it starts veering into then it starts really dipping into the cliches of a romantic comedy where what's going to happen. I guess since it's cliches, I'm not going to it won't be a spoiler if I'm going to talk about it. So, of course, at the end, her husband, decides, I want you back, and all of this. So she goes back to him for a few minutes, and then decides, oh, wait, I don't want this stuffy life after all. I want the life I had before and all that. That is the only part of the film that felt cliched, because it's like, we've just spent all this time with this character and watched her go through a very severe character arc, a very well done character arc, and now you're trying to pull this last minute thing on us just to give us a little bit of last minute drama. And I don't think the movie needed it. It didn't need it. It could have ended. They already had a all is lost moment, quote unquote, that they could have milked for the ending just fine. But they had to go there when you knew what was going to happen. And it's like, when you know that much, and that part of the journey isn't as fun, because the rest of the cliches that are in this, you go along on the trip because the journey is fun, and the characters are enjoyable, and the story they're telling is engaging. That's the only part of it that wasn't engaging, so it felt tedious. And it felt like they could have wrapped it up a little bit sooner. But aside from that, the movie is just delightful. Just delightful. You know, I can't sit here and tell you that it's awe-inspiring or that, you know, you go see it and your life is going to change. But every now and then, bobbing along with whoever's in the truck next to me, you know, every now and then, you need a movie that just kind of comes along and shows you the little beauty and joys of life. The title "Find Your Footing," or "Finding Your Feet," or whatever. I keep calling it the wrong thing. Is because, you know, there's this kind of framing device of the movie. There's this running plot of you know, them going to dance class, and there's a dance thing that goes on throughout it. It's not even a huge plot point. It's just something that happens. But the reason it's important to the movie is it's one of those things where it's something that these people all found joy doing. You know, and, you know, sometimes, you know, this day and age, the cynicism we live in, the world we live in, the people we gotta put up with on a daily basis, isn't it nice to go and see a movie and says, you know, sometimes life is beautiful, and it's beautiful just not because of, you know, big, huge things, but it's beautiful because of the little things you do and the people you do them with. Isn't that, can't we find happiness in that? Isn't that good enough? You know, and if it's not, maybe you need to try a little harder to find that happiness. Even if it's just something small, even if it's just, you know, going and taking dance class, or, you know, I don't know, doing movie reviews that nobody watches, but for some reason they make you happy. You know, shouldn't we take happiness in that? Shouldn't we take our joy where we've got it? Because God fucking knows it's hard to find so much happiness today. So hard. And what a wonderful film to go and see and just go, you know what? Life sucks sometimes. Life can be shit. But, you know, sometimes a little movie can just make you feel good and just make you go, you know, maybe today wasn't so bad. And maybe tomorrow won't be so bad either. That's me, you know? Final grade for this one, I've praised it a lot, so you probably think I'm going A, but I think I have to go B+, just because, I mean, you can't escape the cliches of it. Yeah, you can't escape the cliches of it. But when only one of the cliches, it shows how good I am at talking right now, when only one of the cliches is really distracting, or you could say actually takes away from it, I think the film is doing something good. A B+, and you know what? I enjoyed this movie. I can't wait to buy this movie so I can watch it again when I'm having a bad day. And, you know, if you're having a bad day, or you just need a little reaffirming that maybe there's some beauty out there and you find it where you find it, I recommend this film. Go treat yourself. Get yourself, you know, a $5 bottle of water. Grab a friend. I've left Chewy and Mr. Chirpy at home accidentally. I'm sorry. Go get yourself a big old thing of popcorn, and you know what? Laugh, cry, and just enjoy a beautiful feeling. It feels good. So that's all for me for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy this movie or any movie that brings you happiness. And until next time, drive safe, and I'll see you at the movies.